Hi everyone. Since the Kollel is on winter break and we don't have a regular newsletter or mishmar, I still felt that we shouldn't have this period go by without sharing some words of Torah with all our friends. So I'd like to share a small thought about this week's parsha. This week's parsha, Yaakov Avinu finally goes down to Mitzrayim to meet his son Yosef, and Yosef introduces his father Yaakov to Paro, the king of Egypt. And Paro asks Yosef, how old are you? He says, Kama yemei shnei chayecha. And Yaakov answers, Yemei shnei megurai shloshim u'me'as shana. The years I lived in this world are 130 years. And then, not only does he say how old he is, but he goes on and says, Me'at v'roim ho yemei shnei chayai. My years were few and bitter, and we're not as perfect, we're not as enjoyable, as accomplishing as the years of my forefathers. So the Das the Canaan was from the Balei Tosfos quotes a medrash here that, in fact, because Yaakov sort of complained to Paro about how bad his life is, how challenging his life was, he was actually punished, and for every word in this conversation between Yaakov and Paro, 1 year was deducted from his life. And if we count the words in the conversation between Paro and Yaakov, we would find 33 words, and Yaakov ended up living for 147 years, and his father Yitzchak lived for 180 years. So the math matches up that every word with that conversation, Yaakov was punished and lost years from his life. The reason for that is the Medrash explains that when Yaakov said, my years were few and bitter, so Hashem said to him, Amar la HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ani milataticha me'esav u'milavan. I saved you from Esav and Lavan. Ve'echzarti lecha es Dina ve'es Yosef. Dina was kidnapped, Yosef was sold, and both of your children returned to you. And you complain how your life is short and bitter. So that is why those years were deducted from his life. Interesting question we could ask about this is if anyone opens up a Chumash and counts the words in Paro and Yaakov's conversation, we will find that the 33 words that correspond to the years deducted from Yaakov's life are actually, we actually include the question that Paro asked. When Paro asked Yaakov, how old are you? That itself was taken into account as part of the punishment of Yaakov. So that doesn't make sense. Even if we say that it wasn't okay for Yaakov to be complaining about his life's challenges, still, he definitely shouldn't be punished for Paro's question about how old are you. So Rabbi Chaim Shmulevitz, who's the famous Rosh Hashiva of the Mir in Shenchai and then in Yerushalayim, he said the following explanation. He said, why is Paro even asking Yaakov, how old are you? You know, when a person comes to meet you, it's not the first question you would ask someone is how old you are. He says the reason Paro asked Yaakov how old he was is because Yaakov looked old, he looked aged. And the reason for that was because of all the troubles he went through, because he was missing his son for so many years, because he had to fight with Esav, he had to run away from Lavan, he was away from his parents' home, he had all these challenges he faced in life. So that physically affected his look, and he really looked much older than he actually was. And that's why he says that Reb Chaim Shmulevitz, that is why that is also part of Yaakov's punishment, that he lost those years, even from Paro's question, because what caused Yaakov to look the way he looked, to look so aged, was because his general attitude towards life. Now, I like to just mention this, that obviously Yaakov was on a very, very high level, and whatever here, if there's any, if Yaakov is held accountable for anything here, it's obviously on his very, very high level that he was lacking some level of appreciation is nothing close to what we could, to where we're holding, but we definitely see how much we need to appreciate life. And when we look around and see so many things that are going wrong, things that could have been better, we had different plans about life and things aren't working out the way they are. But what we can learn from this episode, from this story with Paro and Yaakov, is how we could look at things in a negative way. And Yaakov had a lot to complain about. His life was not easy and not fun. But still, Hashem expected from Yaakov to look at those points of positivity, those good things, the miracles that Hashem did for him, and how he was saved from all those challenges. So much so that even the fact that he looked so aged was held towards him, and he lost years of his life because of even the way he looked, from being so broken and so in pain from those challenges. So we could definitely take this all, a message we could all learn from this is to just try to appreciate all the gifts we have in life, all the good Hashem gives to us, and even if things seem very dark and challenging, there are always sparks of light we could find and appreciate. Wishing everyone a wonderful Shabbos.